Hi, everybody. It's sorry. It's Sarah Upside Down here. If you haven't been to my channel, I do content on autism, ADHD, mental health, and just a wide plethora of things, including using different personality test tools and things like that to teach. I hope y'all have been enjoying my random kind of show what you can do as an autistic thing. If you have a channel yourself or some sort of Instagram or whatever, um, like post on there different stuff that you like to do and what your skills are as an autistic, um, and tag me in that at Sarah Upside Down. Um, would love to see what other people's skills are. Or you can go to that video and comment below and let me know what you do, if you have creative things, if you're into computers, and like how you do that and how that helps you with your life. Um, yeah, so like I said, plethora of things. Today I actually was going to be on a podcast with one of my autistic friends, and some stuff came up. You know, things can come up in our lives all the time. It's good to like be understanding of different people's situations. And as an autistic parent myself, I understand that sometimes there's actually just nothing going on except for I'm struggling, and forcing yourself to do, videos or podcasts or things like that when you really just need to take a break is more important. So, um, with that said, I want to get started on what I'm talking about today because I've been having a lot of issues with this certain topic. And it's been coming up a lot more lately. I've had one of my friends, Carol Jean, that's been doing a different communications types videos and stuff like that. So if you want to know more about communication styles, relationship styles, and things like that, go check her out on Social Audi, on Facebook and YouTube. Yes, I have my Ravenclaw cup of ashwagandha tea because I am trying to de-stress today. As y'all can tell, I'm a little bit of a Harry Potter fan, and I mostly claim the Ravenclaw house, but the cuckoo side of me claims Gryffindor. So just imagine those as one person. That's what you get here, like an anime obsessed person with a Ravenclaw cup and a shirt with a cat pushing off coffee that says "I do what I want." I mean, Um, yeah. So about my communication style, um, for, I will be sort of talking about. I realize that's something that I communicate. Like I communicate what I'm going to communicate about before I actually communicate it. Yeah. For someone who sees the bigger picture, I talk in a lot of details, I guess. So there's that. But something that has really helped me out, and I know some of my friends know how obsessed I am with it, because I just see it as this huge tool for life and learning about yourself and other people and whatever and stuff like that. But I use MBTI type. I have for almost a year and a half or two. Gosh, a year. You know, when we get into like the thing about my type, it'll kind of help explain why I don't know what time is. But for almost 2 years, maybe now, one of my first couple videos or whatever, if y'all want to like scroll all the way down to the bottom, that's when I was first learning about it and sort of like going through like minimalist life making choices and stuff like that to help me function, and like how to clean my house out and da 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 da. And I also went into like the MBTI type stuff, and that kind of helped me to like slowly work up to having my channel. So, whenever I went through the process of finding out my type on MBTI, like it was really confusing because I'm an NTP type and dominantly an ENTP, but it's right over the edge of like 50%. It's like actually at 50%, but on the little, there's different sites. I've taken them on all of them. And without having knowledge or whatever of the MBTI system and like how that worked or whatever, like I just never kept into trying to figure it out. And that pretty much sums it up of what an NTP type is. Like I wasn't going to let it go if something wasn't seeming, right or to the truth for myself or like how I actually think, then I was going to keep on digging into it. And so I'd get one type and it'd be half right for a while and whatever. But I kept like digging more into what the functions were, what the letters meant, just all about everything until I could have it. Basically, I could see the bigger picture of it, and that's part of, NTP type thinking, which is an ENTP type and an INTP type. We see the bigger picture first, and then we're working down to the details. Like I literally have all these papers and I did this in like maybe an hour time span. I would like to say good job. But that's how quick that I work with things, and that's how quick that I try to find the inconsistencies with things. It just really doesn't go well with any type of conversations that get like a little lit up or anything like that. I feel like a pimp with this robot. But anyway, it can be very hard because I would say less people in the world communicate in that style. And most of the people you're going to be around are going to be pretty opposite. And then every so often you'll find someone and that you have this similar communication style or similar personality type. Now I do personality type like in that because it's not just like personality, it's actually like the cognitive functions of your brain, and it does go more into like neurological stuff, and connecting with my channel. A lot of the other autistics I know, they have all the different, ones of the 16 types or whatever, but a lot of the ones that I know are or that think like me that I actually have met in person are ENFPs, INTPs, and ENTPs. And if not, they're like Spock and like ISTJs or whatever. So, and there has been a little research done, and I won't go too far into that because that is not part of this today, that does connect with mental and neurological stuff and like certain types because it has to do with their functions and how they go about life. It's how you perceive and see, how you see the world and how you make judgments and stuff like that. So there really is so much more tied into that. If you just want to know like everything about that, I will just dump it all out like just a huge giant bag of stones. I don't know. I didn't want to say worms because that's disgusting and I like rocks. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my type because I feel that not only will some people actually relate to that, or that I get to talk about myself, because that's always fun to talk about my interests and things, but it's really because I think that a lot of autistics, a lot of neurodiverse people, a lot of ADHD people kind of relate to maybe at least EP types, like an ENFP, ENTP. There's just certain ones that I feel like will help to connect with their personality type. Now I'm going to go through this as like quick as I can without talking too fast. I always say like the Flash, I cannot do this whole mirror thing. But there's a lot of good stuff in here. So here on, I have all the websites listed below, by the way, that I used, including Psychology Junkie, and Truity, and Personality Central, and I think that's it, where a lot of this information came from, because being an ENTP type, or INTP type, I probably would like get all this information and just like constantly try to get it to people, but not put it actually down on a site or paper, because that's one of my downsides. Like, I'm a Jill of all trades, master of none, except for I feel like I'm a master when I'm in that one thing to that. But yeah, so I have a lot of helpful information here. I'm just going to kind of read some of this stuff out, and I'm going to add this little screen here just so that y'all can kind of see like what this type actually means. And if you're an ENTP type, I know I watch a couple of you guys on here. There's not very many of us, because it would actually require us to not only get the ideas, but also make a YouTube channel and get on there and complete that. There's ups and downs of like every type, because there's ups and downs of all the people. But I'm going to go over a lot of the positive things and just the communication style, and then say a couple of things about what we would need to work on and such, which is like one really major big problem that causes other little ones. So we'll get there. The communication style. ENTPs are lively and agile communicators who speak in terms of the big idea. They like to explore possibilities and make connections with the information they receive. ENTPs love innovative solutions and enthusiastic about change, but they are highly analytical and will not hesitate to criticize ideas that don't hold up to their logical analysis. ENTPs can be hard to keep up with in conversation. They like to play with lots of complex ideas and have little patience for explaining details. Now, like, that's like half of you guys, just raise your hand. I won't be able to see, but I really feel like the INTP and the ENTP types just, as far as I feel like my autism, like, that really puts in the perspective of like basically having ADHD and, being on spectrum and being autistic, like just how it's explaining that they think. And I'm sure someone has already like gone into the rabbit hole with those thoughts, so I won't go too far, but it's just really interesting. So on here, I have stuff for INTP and ENTP, like I said, because I have connected equally with pretty much both of those. I'm allowed to do that because I'm always in the middle. I was born a middle child, and I'm still in the middle on basically all my decisions, except for some, maybe 3, like literally. So it says communicating with INTPs. When speaking with an INTP, it's important to be logical and open-minded. INTPs like to analyze and consider many possibilities and angles, and they need time to think through things before giving an answer. Try to be creative and unprejudiced when speaking with an INTP. Don't throw a lot of rigid rules and structure at them. To gain their trust, be as reasonable and honest as possible. To gain their interest, give them a puzzle, yeah, or impersonal problem to solve. They enjoy brain teasers and complexities. Show appreciation for their creative problem-solving skills. Like, another thing that I feel like really connects with me as an autistic is the whole problem solving, and maybe trying to do that too much that you kind of forget that you were actually talking to someone about their emotions. And then we get into our emotions, which isn't usually ever good for this type in a lot of ways, because when they get into their emotions, and we're not used to doing that because we're used to just like glazing over them and trying to help other people, then we forget. And we want people to be able to, be there whenever we have emotional things to talk about, or we just don't know how to even explain our emotions, which is another thing that I struggle with, like alexithymia, that's also in autistics, and there's other disorders and things like that struggle with that. So that's things that you can do. Don'ts would be, don't make them conform to rigid rules or the tried and true technique. As intuitives, they are more likely to see innovative pathways than rely on past techniques. Don't rush them to make a decision. They like to have time to mull over things. Try to stay calm and steady when discussing disagreements. Yeah. So communicating with the ENTPs, when speaking with an ENTP, it's important to be open-minded, attentive, and ready to brainstorm. To gain their trust, be unprejudiced, analytical, and logical. To gain their interest, discuss new, ingenious, novel ideas and theoretical possibilities every single day, all the time, 24 hours a week. Okay, I at least sleep 6. But like all the rest of the time, we can do that. Unless I get like overstimulated by the conversation myself, which as an autistic and someone who has these functions, a lot of the conversations that I like to have are very stimulating, and sometimes even the good ones are overstimulating. So you can imagine how the bad ones go, and the bad debates or arguments or whatever can be like just debilitating, because they're not, like, I guess, a healthy, safe space to have a conversation, or if I'm not prepared for that type of communication and I'm trying to shove myself into a box to make myself be like I used to do, like my entire life up until I found out I was autistic. So, it just really all connects there. And give them lots of options and inspirations for future outcome. Make sure your opinions are well researched and logical. Be open to friendly debate. Friendly. So if you're going into some sort of conversation and this is pretty serious or whatever, it shouldn't be a friendly debate. But at the same time, someone like me is going to see the bigger picture of everything, and I'm going to have a hard time with the communication because I'm seeing what's all, the whole thing, the world. I'm seeing the world and not all these things. And then with being an INTP, ENTP, I'm like seeking out the truth. I'm wanting to know the truth, and I'm wanting to build on what it really is. And sometimes that can be invalidating to other people's emotions or whatever. So there's obviously downsides in certain types of conversations. And I mean, I'm willing to admit that, but it is frustrating, because there's a paper over here somewhere. We are by far not trying to hurt anybody, hurt their feelings or anything like that. And honestly, some of these same people that we're doing it to probably have done it to us all the time, but that doesn't matter. It's that we are more trying to find the truth and the solution in the communication, and that doesn't always require looking at the feelings in our brains anyways. And so that's not lacking empathy. That doesn't mean all ENTPs are sociopaths, which is like what a lot of memes are about, just because like an unhealthy one can be like the Joker or whatever. But there's just growth in every type, and that's been mine for sure, is that I have to know when to kind of like not say anything and not have to bring up the truth or the inconsistencies that the people are doing. And that really falls really deep in the INTP as well, in that. So which is what this next paragraph is about. It says that they are quick to identify root issues, problems, inconsistencies, flaws, and conceptualize and initiate long-term strategic innovative plans and solutions to solve these problems. They are comfortable with complexity and can create theories and frameworks to make sense of the world around them. They are curious and skeptical individuals who do not like to take things at face value, but love an intellectual debate about ideas and theories, critiquing and questioning the perspectives of others. When you're communicating with them, they need to be, besides using an objective, logical process, you need to be precise with your information when expressing your thoughts. Present ideas in a big picture and global fashion. Because that's how we see it. So if you're communicating this direct, whatever way, and there's no possibilities and there's no options and there's no just freedom or whatever. Like, we're just probably not gonna, if we're put in a box before we have to have like some sort of conversation and the expectations upon us, so that we don't need to be anything about who we are at all. Basically what I'm saying is it's just not going to go very well, because we're not able to see. Like, we see things in pictures. I, as an autistic, see things in pictures, and then I see the even bigger picture. And then I break down and go into all the tiny details. Like, it's still seeing all the details. I'm still good. I still have a good eye. Like, just a lot of autistics actually do see the bigger picture, and that's how a lot of us do our problem solving. And some start with the details. I mean, there's just really, like I said, I'm always in the middle, whatever. INTPs dislike talking about routine or straightforward tasks. They also do not like going into specifics of issues. They believe that discussions of issues in general would suffice, because everyone would have grasped the bigger picture. And that's where I struggle in arguments, or like discussments, or disarguments, or whatever, discuments. ENTPs like creating words and things, and we like words, and we like learning languages. I don't know, but like in those discussions or arguments, that's been like a pretty big issue that I've had, because I'm like, why are they not seeing this, but they're not seeing my way, and then I can't see theirs, and then so there's just constant miscommunication, because I'm seeing things in a whole, and that doesn't really help whenever someone sees things about, just what's going on with them in the situation. I'm seeing their side and my side, and the ghost in the middle. I don't know. And but the thing is, naturally, even though I'm a very unbiased person, I'm going to have a hard time, I guess, if my feelings are in the loop of it, and that can create kind of chaos. And then I do look like Moriarty instead of Sherlock. And I do look like the Joker instead of, well, I guess in Batman it would be the Riddler. Yeah. So I get to be the Riddler or the Joker. Okay, well, I'm going to choose the Riddler, I guess. That's just another thing about our communication. Super random, all over the place. And I would like this video to have already ended, but there's so much information that I dissected in like less than an hour, and I still have a little bit to go. So if you're not bored already and taking a nap, just keep on listening, because maybe one of these types really hit with you, and you can learn more information about how your brain works, how you function, and what you can do to work on your shadow functions, basically, which is like doing, shadow work, shadow functions. They're the functions that are your subconscious. This is very complex, and I probably shouldn't have said that without actually explaining, because it's all just in my head, literally. Yeah, so it says, give them time to analyze and consider information. INTPs need to consider new information and how it fits into their existing perspective. That doesn't mean they've already gotten like set on a certain perspective. They're willing to look at more perspectives, but they just need to be able to have a little bit more time to process, which also makes sense to me as an autistic, that like I was never dumb like I thought I was. I just needed more time to process. I needed to learn on my own or in a different way. And like I went to 15 different schools, like as an autistic and a person that works with these functions. I feel like I keep going like this because it's right here. Having both of those situations going on is definitely going to probably create some lack of accomplishment and some self-worth issues, and so we could do without that. That would be nice. So that's a little bit about communication styles, do's and don'ts. Like I said, the link is below on more of that information. I've been wanting to do MBTI type videos for like forever, and I know that I'm probably just info dumping a lot of this stuff. So y'all just have fun with it and comment if something sticks out to you. I will try to reply while I'm on here, but I'll probably get sidetracked. And so, it's a little harder. I do have like severe combined type ADHD, and my body does not accept taking any type of things for that. So I just have to work really hard on being conscious about things, like all the time, every minute. It's exhausting. So the second part of this, I am going to let y'all know about sort of just different ways of the thinking. And this will also relate to autistics and ADHD, neurodiverse people, as well as the NTP types. So this will kind of talk about the brain and less neuroscience that actually is behind the MBTI type. For those who are skeptical, because you may be like me, or you're just skeptical because you're like completely rigid, type of skeptical, then this will maybe help your logic, or if you have an analyst brain, to kind of understand a little bit. So, found this on one of these websites posted below. Dario Nardi is one of the people who works a lot with the MBTI, and he did a neuroscience of personality, brain savvy insights of all types of people, and ENTP shows a brain pattern where the neocortex is active all over. Each region is high amplitude and out of sync with all the other regions. When ENTPs use this process, they can channel observations from regions that the other types wouldn't consider using. As Nardi says in his book, for most people, hearing the word dog and cat will evoke auditory regions like T3 and perhaps some visual or memory regions like O1 or C3. However, the NE types, which is ENTP, INTP, ENFP, INFP, get busy using all regions to tap relationships across situations, perhaps suddenly imaging a story about two brothers whom of one is faithful and sociable like a dog, while the other is independent and quiet like a cat. They might wonder about dog and cat writing styles too. This creative mental process allows ENTPs to come up with surprise insights and innovative ideas that other types would struggle to generate. And that doesn't mean like these types are like high superior, blah blah blah, whatever. This is just how our brains work. This is how we process, view the world, hear things, see things, all the senses, whatever. And we usually go more by our intuition with that. And there is science in here. So ENTPs use brain region P4 more than other types. The brain region is the site where we distinguish ourselves in space, generate strategic solutions, and use nonverbal reasoning. I'm sorry, but like if you watch this video, and you it just drives me crazy because I can see all the connections between everything. That's how I do all my research. That's how I just work, like everything about how my brain works. And how my brain works is also because I'm autistic. And so, it really just all kind of intersects and overlaps with the details that are deep within the MBTI. ENTPs are often type A. ENTPs are usually optimists. And this isn't like optimists, like some toxic positivity crap. They reported to have the lowest stress levels in relationships to children, intimate relationships, and health. Now saying that like all that may not be good or in those ways because there's like issues or things, or, you have multiple adults that are on the spectrum and like trying to work all those things out or whatever and stuff like that. It can definitely interfere with, I would say, being optimistic or whatever for some. But they're always still trying to find brainstorm, innovate, and find creative solutions. It makes sense that they would be optimistic. Even in trying situations, their brain is ready to strategize a new innovative solution to problem at hand. Now, while someone with NI instead of NE will internally strategize and be able to think of stuff in a different type of intuitive way. That's just a whole nother video that I need to do on that. But there's different types of intuition that we naturally use that our brains go towards. And I would say the ENTP, as far as being intuitive, is more like, as far as me anyway, is more ideas. I'm Benjamin Franklin as a female, because it's just a constant like strategizing almost in the moment, except for we're not in the moment because we're in the future. And that's why Doc from Back to the Future is an INTP or an ENTP. So because he's like, it's called Back to the Future and he goes to the past. I don't know, whatever, but that's pretty much our brains. ENTP and INTPs are creative. Okay, no surprises on this one. According to the MBTI manual, ENTPs rank highest on 2 of the 3 measures of creativity. This coincides with Dario Nardi's study on type and brain activity. He found that any dominant types rely heavily on brain regions that support imagination and creativity. Yes, which is another thing that connects with me and a lot of my friends on the spectrum. Like, it just connects, And like I said, they're all over the 16 types or whatever. Like, also goes with like nurture and nature and psychology and neurology. There's a lot of things intersected with that. But I really do see these connections with, like I said, someone with autism like mine, where they also have combined type ADHD and OCD and dyslexia. Because like the Aspie world, I mean, if you go to his thing, like he says those exact things, which is exactly what I have. We both talk really fast. I'm a chick, he's a dude, and like we have a lot of these similarities in our spicy autistic lives. So ENTPs would rather binge study than binge Netflix. I mean, it really depends, because if I'm watching a psychological thing or whatever show, then I am studying while I'm binging. So I will slightly disagree. They were overrepresented in taking classes, going to school, writing, appreciating art, or playing with computers and video games. They ranked very low in watching TV for 3 hours or more per day. Okay, I guess I agree with them on that, because that is kind of true. Like, I'd rather do all this stuff and research and just make random packets and whatever and stuff out of them, because it's like literally energizing my brain to get all this information and then it out. I'm just trying to figure out a better way where I can be myself and do that, to where it's also understood to people who are not in the same function area as me and stuff. And it can be hard to just communicate as on a YouTube channel. Like, I've thought about just switching to podcasts and stuff like that, because I can just kind of be behind the scenes, and that's when I really go into INTP sort of mode, is where I like to do things all behind the scenes. Now, I'm totally okay with my stuff and name being on whatever, that's cool, but like, I just like to be able to do all this work, gather all this information, and give it out to people, hoping that it will help them in some way in their lives. And onward. They don't need constant interaction with people. Contrary to popular belief, these types are not consumed with being around people 24/7. These types value autonomy and independence greatly and are considered one of the more introverted, extroverted types. Yes. That's why I feel like I relate so much to both sides and not just the stereotypes. I'm not the stereotype, if anything. That's the point of being an NTP type, is that you can literally be like all the types in some sort of way or fashion, especially if you're constantly forced into boxes where you've had to do that for so long, which is also an autistic problem, which is why I don't not only do autistics mask, but so do these types in many certain situations, or turn into chameleons. And some of them go way too deep down the, doing that path maybe and end up developing sociopathy. But that's another video, Moriarty. Just go watch Sherlock. And it says they definitely enjoy socializing when it involves discussing possibilities and ideas or debating views and the universe and politics or any other fascinating and perhaps contentious subjects. They may argue, but it's rarely mean-spirited. While unhealthy, ENTPs may enjoy trolling just for the fun of it. Most NTPs are truly energized by the mental sparring involved in a debate. They see so many sides to an argument that they feel a compulsion to call out individuals who are tied to one single view. They usually don't have an emotional investment in the argument, and they are rarely out to hurt anyone's feelings. Their main goal is usually to show an alternate side of an argument or to get the core truth of an issue, which is never good in an argument, especially with really closer people to you, because they don't see that that's what you're doing. That's why there's all these memes about that actually shows a picture of a guy that looks like my brother, the little ENTP guy, and they're just shown as straight jerks and like just all the memes about just really bad things, okay? and I almost hate that because I know that deep down to the core, like I've looked into this way too much to not know that that is my type. And I'm like, but I've always been very empathetic. It's just the way that I do things and how blunt I am, and that I tell the truth is very autistic and apparently not accepted in society or whatever. So, I've had to work on that. But if you ever want to ask me if your outfit looks nice, I'll tell you the truth. I mean, that's what it's about. I'm just kidding. So another thing about ENTPs and INTPs is their intuition. And Richard Feynman is actually an ENTP, and there's a lot of really awesome people that are ENTPs. Let's go to this next slide here. Leonardo da Vinci, which I named my son after, who and possible careers are engineers, entrepreneurs, inventors, lawyers, and scientists, as well as artists and creators and things like that. So there's this cool little thing. And may become overly harsh or aggressive. Okay, like I said, there's downsides of that, but they're actually skilled in conversation with people that are able to communicate, I would say, in the way that would understand them. Anyway, I'm not going to read over like how many of things that I got here, but another thing is, about their brainstorming. Of course, that's a really big thing. And they're visionaries. They like complexities and connections that they've discovered in everything around them. Naturally, other intuitives will be more drawn to this type of conversation. Together, ENTPs and other intuitives can explore hours of theoretical abstract topics, defining, redefining, and sparking each other's imaginations and future-focused visions. I mean, we are in the future. I don't know how to be in the present. It's been like a really hard thing to learn as a parent. And like, I enjoy doing everything with my kids and in the present, but I'm just so all over the place. And I care a lot to make it to where I can be in the present and learn how to think in a better, I guess, direction, or just have direction, period, because I need structure. I just also need a balance of the freedom. And the more that I get structured and caged, the worse that my mental health and other things will go as well. So they are open-minded and flexible. They constantly see possibilities. They are original and independent. They are creative and imaginative. They have a knack for sensing the motivations of other people. They like to move from project to project. They are inspired by challenges and problem solving. They tend to be impulsive. They despise routine and mundane everyday chores. They are insightful and inspiring, and they are resourceful and enterprising. And then on some of these sites, there's a lot of information on the neuroscience of extroverted intuition. If you want to know more about that, you can go check that out. There's just so much information. Like, I just have so much. I'm like, why did I gather so much? Because I'm an NTP. And to me, it's like nothing. I could do research that would take some people like months long, and it's not anything to do with like intelligence or whatever. It's just literally, I'm just sucking it all in like a dang sponge. And then I'm like an encyclopedia. And I will accept the memes about INTPs that are like that. There is a list of things you should never say to these types that also is applicable to autistics as well. And then there is the top things that terrify ENTPs, which will also fit with INTPs and a lot of autistics. Another thing is that like there's memes and stuff out there, like I said, about sociopathy and whatever, or jokes about ENTP being sociopaths. And yeah, a lot of them probably are, because some of the ones that haven't learned self-control or to like not care about just their projects. If you are one of these types, or even any of the types, and you choose projects over people, and you're all your stuff and your ideas, and basically what people mean to you is to help you with your projects, they're just ants, then yeah, they're probably a sociopath, just workers, and stuff. Because there is like a lot of people that I've known that are similar to this type. But the difference I see in myself and someone who's a sociopath is I have an extremely large amount of empathy, and all my things that I innovate, create, and do is for people and to help people do better. So, the focus and the, like I said, nature and nurture is a different thing. So quit your mean memes of this type. So this right here shows things that can make these types feel trapped, which is being stuck in rigid, repetitive routine, having to do things by the book without innovating, dealing with emotionally reactive, biased individuals, being rushed to make a decision, being overloaded with nitty-gritty details, being micromanaged, not being able to spend enough time with people, a lack of outside stimulation, and being surrounded by people who lack imagination or vision. I mean, that is like living HE double hockey sticks for someone like me. And I could see why, like, maybe I've excelled in some of the issues that I have, because I go through bouts of sort of feeling like that and going through those situations. And I go through that as being an autistic as well, and just not feeling like I can be an adult who still has an imagination and is still fun and creative, because everybody now is just, rigidity and whatever adults. And I'm just like, I need a little bit more openness and choices. I feel like that sounds right for most people, that they would want that. But I think that if you think in a certain way, you're not thinking that you're not giving choices. So that's a pickle. I'm not sure. So things that you should never say to an NTP is, that's just the way it is. Accepting things as they are, or being forced to accept something as it lies in direct opposition of their dominant function, extroverted intuition. NTPs are all about innovating, transforming, and finding potential. Having to settle for something just as it is goes against their very nature. Like, you're literally training someone to go against everything about how they are. As an autistic, as an NTP or whatever, like, I get really passionate about this stuff because, like, basically my whole personality was sort of like ripped and taken away. And then I was told that I can't be any of these ways, like I'm some demon or something. And then I was able to put all the puzzle pieces myself together, not from being a puzzle piece, so that I could find out about being autistic and also how my functions work. Fine, whatever, which is another one. Do you have a tendency towards passive aggression? If so, better leave that habit behind. ENTPs detest passive aggressive behavior and prefer it when people come right out and just say what's on their mind or what's bothering them, because direct, if at all possible. Be direct. I mean, like, it just frustrates me. A lot of people, I feel like, try to like not to hurt my feelings and stuff like that, but they're all going around beating around the bush, which is basically, in a sense, if you're doing it long enough, just sort of lying to yourself, or I don't really know, but it's not really helping, because I'm an NTP type. I'm also autistic. I'm like a detective. Like, I'm going to figure out all this stuff, and I'm going to do it as fast as I possibly can because I can't help it. And then if you're sitting there doing this and doing that, and you're not really like just telling me what it is, or you're trying to like say it a certain way so that it doesn't upset me, like, that upsets me. That sort of is where the irritation comes from, because you're like not just coming to me and being able to communicate to me really directly. It's like, I need direct communication, and I know I don't communicate directly, but it's like, in order for me to see the truth in what you're saying, or even like, I guess, like, understand it or whatever, like, I can't try to figure out what you're saying. I just need you to tell me what you actually want or need. And I would say in that way, I am more direct. So, if you relate to that, put a thumbs up, keep following my channel. Because I said so. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely said that to my kids, but that's because I give them the reasons why, like, all the time. And I'm pretty sure my son is a similar type. And so, I'm guilty, it's fine. So this line just begs the question, do they? Who is everyone? Or just because everyone thinks something doesn't make it right? Usually when people say that line, everyone knows, they're trying to be condescending towards the person that they're talking to, or cut off the opponent's argument prematurely. I mean, yeah, pretty much. I know it can be frustrating when, your kids want to know the reasons why of everything, but that's what partly makes my brain is because I always want to know why. And I want to be given just direct, communication on that versus just, like trying to do everything to sort of just the beating around the bush thing. Another thing is, this is black and white. Stop over analyzing it. Thanks to extroverted intuition and introverted thinking, INTPs and ENTPs see everything from 100 different angles and connection points. They also tend to question binary thinking and pre-established rules. Having to see things in black and white is limiting to them, and being forced to do so will frustrate them. Like, seriously, to no end. I cannot know, because I'm always constantly thinking in all the different possibilities and ways. And if this person just only thinks this way or this way, and it's always like that, and you don't really feel like you can even like try to say anything, no matter how you say it, it's just never going to really communicate, because they already have like these things like set and nailed down with like iron and stuff. So it can be really hard to communicate whenever everybody wants you to just be a certain way, which also relates, as far as being autistic and having different type of autistic communication. Hurry up and decide is another one not to say. And have you heard about random acquaintance, celebrity, distant family member? Let me fill you in on the details. This is a huge one, like that really, especially with like the MCAS stuff and the health stuff that I have, can really flare me up. It can get my brain in like a negative space, or whatever you want to say, which is gossip, especially high detailed gossip. Is usually of little interest to this type. They tend to get turned off by people who spread rumors or who go into long monologues about the behavior of a person who has no actual effect on their life. And that's not really necessarily being selfish. It's just like, to me, honestly, I feel like gossip is sort of like lying about things, in a different way, or it's still just not really something that's going to be positive for you or the person that's talking about it. And now if they're like going through a hard situation and they're going through something with somebody and they really need someone to understand their situation, or they feel alone with it or whatever and stuff like that, then that's sort of different to me. Then you're just like empathizing with the rough situation that they're going through, and you're trying to help them through the problem or just be there for them. But not just, sitting there talking crap and like not really coming up with any solutions. I find that a lot of the groups that I've had to try to go to for codependency things or stuff like that is that like they'll just keep on going and talking about the issues and the problems, and I'm like, that's not like helping. Nobody's able to grow if they're just stuck on what these issues and problems are, and nobody's like coming back. And if you have a solution, you look like the odd one out, like you're positive Patty, but really your life could just kind of suck for a lot of reasons, like mine has, and you're just wanting to stop being, staying in all the stuff and not, you want to start creating solutions or, working on that. And then this is the last thing that I will go over because I am getting towards my endpoint, is top 10 things that terrify ENTPs and INTPs. Is number one, definitely number one, is shows this little chain here. Yeah. Let me go. Kind of goes along with this: rigidly enforced rules, a lack of change or progression, a lack of outside stimulation, being micromanaged, etc., etc. But it's being controlled or trapped is the biggest one. And though these often enjoy many relationships and friendships, they are also very independent individuals. They love the freedom to explore numerous ideas and possibilities, and the ability to investigate the outer world for inspiration. The masterful extroverted intuition is always pulling concepts and innovative thoughts from the outside world. To be trapped, to controlled, or stifled in any way can make them feel anxious and extremely agitated, which is why I've become an extremely agitated, anxious person. I've gone through way too many situations in my life, and this will just, go along with part of my own mental health with being a scapegoat. And, I was that in my family, and I feel like I've kind of turned into that for, other people. And I'm not like victimizing myself or whatever. It's just sort of kind of how, my life sort of played out in a lot of ways. And I was someone that could just be used to lift other people up. And whenever they're upset, they could say something bad to me about myself, so they would feel better. I mean, that's just been like a really big thing in my life. As an autistic, I probably brushed it off then, and now I'm dealing with like all the years of going through that and trying to, figure out how to heal from those things. Just being in a lot of, around a lot of narcissism and selfish things and stuff like that. And it's made it hard for me to even be my own self, to have my own personality, and to be able to flourish in my own potential. I was used for the, potential of a lot of other situations and people and stuff. And so, yeah, it can definitely affect anxiety and agitation and mental health, going through that for, 20 plus years or, whatever. And I've still been able to use the innovative brain that I have to get to a better place. And I'm trying to work on, just creating safe spaces for my mind and myself and my spirit and whatever, so that I don't have more repercussions from what other people have done around, or what I've, started to let from being sort of, trained to be in those situations or whatever. That'll be a whole nother video on mental health. But this stuff really does go into that as well. Another one is never really feeling truly connected to another person. The fear of actually tied, being controlled, or trapped. ENTPs love meeting of the minds to discuss exciting ideas and innovations. They love the camaraderie and comfort of close friendships and relationships where they can bounce ideas back and forth. Never feeling connected or free to share ideas with another person can make the ENTP feel like their life is shallow and meaningless. Mediocrity. They love having ambitions and innovative ideas that they long to see come to life. They pride themselves on having unique conceptual insights and independent ways of viewing the world. Also relates to me as an autistic. They hate the idea of being stuck in an ordinary life and living the 9 to 5 grid day in and out. Yes. Except for 9 to 5 at home as a mom and a YouTuber and a cleaner and a yard worker and a whatever, all those things. Not meeting their potential, which is a huge thing because, like I said, like I've always helped with the potential of others. I've always seen it in them, even though they looked like they probably had nothing, like I've just been able to be there and kind of acknowledge that, in different situations. So, and then this concern goes hand in hand with mediocrity because it stems from the same fear. ENTPs want their lives to mean something, and they want to make a difference in the world in some way. This could mean inventing something, expanding human knowledge, improving systems, or another number of things. Many ENTPs or INTPs mention wanting to leave a legacy behind when they get to the end of their life. And it's not like, ooh, I became, a CEO and like was the richest person alive or whatever. It's more just like I want, for me anyways, personally, I want my kids to know like how much I did do for them and help them, in their lives and help them grow and learn and become independent so, that they could try to survive in this crazy, harsh world while not losing their empathy and da-da-da-da-da. And I try to help adults with some of those things too that have lost a lot of that along the way in their lives and don't really have much information or knowledge that was given to them on how to, do as much or care for others or try to use their brains not only to, make or do things for them or whatever, but also to use it to give out to, the world and people and stuff like that. Commitment sometimes is a thing. A lot of them mention they want to settle down and find true love at some point in their lifetime. Many more mentioned a terrible fear of commitment. ENTPs love to keep their options open and prefer to keep their things open-minded. They like decisions that can be easily changed, so major commitments can cause ENTP quite a bit more anxiety than they would a judging type, which, is somewhat true. I mean, for me, yeah, it is like if I feel like fully really committed to this person and love this person and there's communication and they're able to understand me and help with my needs and I'm able to just give an equal give and take and not like this power control stuff or like just negative unhealthy relationship stuff, then it's easy because I'm just a really easy person to as far as I think, it's really just someone that can listen to me and likes my ideas and understands sort of how my brain works and, some of, the good, the bad, and ugly, whatever. And so whenever I am able to have that, then I'm able to flourish in the relationship and feel like, I'm useful and I'm important or whatever, all the things that I guess like maybe you should feel or whatever. So, if all that's there, then the commitment stuff really isn't hard. I am about to hit an hour, so I'm going to speed through this. Ignorance is another thing. They find much of their significance and identity in their ingenious and innovative way of viewing the world and thinking. They have an incredible knack for figuring out new theories and concepts. This mind is of such importance to them. They hate the idea of finding out someday that they are stupid or making irrational decisions. Yeah. Loss of a loved one, and in my life specifically, I've lost too many loved ones. So yeah, I guess it's a fear now, like that seems, even worse. But and incompetence or inadequacy. They pride themselves in being original, inventive, and capable. They are greatly fear being incompetent or unable to quickly access their normal ingenious thought process. They also fear being seen as inadequate or stupid. And I was seen like that like my entire life. I was never like, it was like maybe an art teacher here or there or something. But as far as like by my parents or my family or just anything else, like they had no idea what I was actually capable of. I just was never really given a chance. And I'm okay with that now. Like I've made terms with it after going to a couple trauma retreats or whatever and finding out that, oh my gosh, I'm not stupid. And that's what's helped me do this YouTube channel and have like an Instagram and put out information and make blogs and like and theories and conceptualize and all that stuff. And so like now I'm, yes, I would say a little bit prideful about how I'm able to take in so much information and like all that kind of stuff. But that's because I spent most of my life not using my brain how it actually works. I did it how I was told to do. I was molded into how I needed to be. And then I stayed that way in most of my life and, the relationship, whatever. And didn't know how to be anything else other than what people could use, instead of being able to be like Leonardo da Vinci or Albert Einstein or whoever else that's, an ENTP, INTP, because they were, pushed through by, the people around them or had a support system that, was able to actually see what they are good at and helps them to sort of excel. And so, you can see where the different, uprisings and stuff with different, like how you can be the same type, but not be the same type of person. I think that mine kind of made me into a non-stereotypical ENTP, INTP type because of the things that I've gone through, some of the traumas that I've gone through and stuff like that. And that's what sort of helped me to not be this like, stereotype of what they are or like just the memes and stuff, is because all of those things helped me to, have more empathy for people and what their situations are. And just is what geared me. It sucks that I went through crap, but that's what I'm trying to say. Insanity. If you look at the NTP fears, or INTP mentioned so far, you might notice a common thread. Many of their fears have to do with losing mental independence, freedom, and coherence. They long to be original, to stand out, to have a legacy, and explore numerous ideas and mental pathways. The idea of losing rational use of their mind is a terrifying prospect to them. And honestly, I feel like that's where I'm at now because of going through like the life, like sort of how I've explained, is that it has made a huge impact on my mental health. And, I already had the neurological differences. I already see the world different. I already like feel things different, just all of that. And then being taken away from like how I need to be to actually function better has made it to where I have more executive dysfunction issues. And a lot of the frustrations or irritations that I have is that like a lot of that I couldn't control, and so I would say, yeah, fearing insanity is a huge thing because if people can't accept you the way you are and they just want you to be this certain way, they have expectations of how you should communicate and how you're going to do things, then like that's just not going to put you into a good mental health place or whatever. It's what's caused a lot of my anxiety and tendencies with the OCD and different things like that, is because highly sensitive person that has a very overactive brain and things like that, and has all these ideas and all these means. It's not even just about having a legacy. It's just like you're really trying to do things that benefit the world, and you're sort of seen as like nothing to a lot of people. And you can't even show that you're something with all these different ideas and things. And so that does create a lot of, like, I joke about it, but self-worth issues, self-esteem and stuff like that, because it's like, now I'm not even able to complete stuff, not just because I'm a P and not a J. It's because like I'm filled with all of this stuff that's been sort of put into me, to where all of me has sort of emptied out somewhere. And then I've had to go find all those pieces and put it together. And part of the MBTI and stuff has been a huge thing for that to understand, and for me to get back to who I actually am. So this little page over here is, and I know this is a lot. If you need to pause this like 15 times, or like turn it into just a listening thing, like you really don't need to see my face. I have Tanjiro earrings on if you want to look at that. But other than that, I get it. I do the same thing. And sometimes I have to put it on faster speed because I'm a mom who's always busy, and that's my excuse. You can debate me on that. Just kidding. I had to say it at least once. INTPs can be just as debatey as ENTPs sometimes, because my best friend is, and like, we're both basically the same type of brains, but I'm just a little bit kookier and Willy Wonka-like than her. But yeah, this picture here says, tell or show me. So like, draw me a picture of what you're going through. Like, show me in some sort of way where I can, understand or take in how you need something to be communicated, whatever. Big picture first. I think about the big picture first, and supporting it with some sort of logic really helps, because I'm trying to find the logic if you're just telling me, about the feeling or what's going on. And if like none of these are done, then I'm probably going to just explode, because my brain cannot even process what you're saying or how it's being done. It doesn't always have to include logic. I'm not always logical. I'm able to take in people's like emotions and feelings and consider all that stuff and whatever. But if it's me in the equation, then that makes it harder to do, because I'm kind of like, well, I just don't really see much of anything on how this pertains to me. I can't really figure it out, and it just gets me in a loop. Sorry, I'm struggling with allergy issues, and so my ears are very itchy. Amy Poller is an ENTP, as well as Tina Fey, which is an ENTP INTP type. So I'm cool with that. There's also a lot of cool anime characters that are like Elle and just a lot. I'll have to do a whole other video with that too. But she says, as you navigate through the rest of your life, be open to collaboration. Other people and other ideas are often better than your own. Find a group of people who will challenge and inspire you. Spend a lot of time with them, and it will change your life. I mean, she's right. This is one of my favorite characters on Steins Gate. And just a little ENTP girl. These are the functions over here. So whenever you start deep diving in like I do, you find the actual four main functions of your brain, and you're able to make more sense of that. And, just some good and bad things on here in a little picture that have to do with this type. So yeah, you can pause it, check that out, and read some of that. I just always like throwing pictures in, because I like to see it all. And I'm okay with the things about me that aren't great. I'm definitely okay with the things about me that are. But this is my autistic brain. This is my autistic ADHD life. And this is how I function and how it works. And I want to be able to communicate with people the best that I can. I try to change up my channel like 50 different ways to do so. And I want to be able to communicate with those around me. Like, I see the flaws and stuff that I have, some of them which I think because of going through a lot of mental and emotional issues and stuff that, like I was kind of talking about previously, that it has kind of caused some cognitive issues even more, as well as like, the fibromyalgia and MCAS and stuff like that, that can be hard if I'm in stimulating environments or conversations. And none of those, like I said, are as an excuse. I'm seeing a lot of those things as what they are or whatever. But my brain making sense of it is doing videos like this where I can explain, and then hopefully someone will connect or relate to a lot of what is here, and maybe that can help them. These over here are the different 4 functions. So if you go take like 5 different tests or whatever, and you actually look into it more and make sure you're getting the right personality thing, then you'll have these, and it tells you which one does what, and that's telling you how your brain works and how it functions, and you can accept yourself, which has been a huge thing for me in learning about being autistic. And it's been a huge thing for me about just going through growth and being able to stick it out in therapy, or being able to stick it out, I mean, I always find a way. That's why I like Naruto, Naruto from Naruto, because I feel really connected with that sort of thing. It's like that type of optimism, not just this fake, like, just, get over it, everything's fine, and whatever, toxic positivity. Like, no, like just really being able to push yourself, no matter what, negative or harmful situations or whatever, but being able to find a positive way that you can heal and go through life and know about yourself in order to have better communication, to have better relationships with people. It's like not ever going to be perfect, and I'm still going to be like wacky Willy Wonka, but I have literally worked for 2.5 years, and in that time I have gone through a lot of stuff that has really messed up my brain, and realizing a lot of things because I'm in an imaginary land. It's messed up a way of how I process even more, because it has to do with a lot of pain, and my brain apparently doesn't process that necessarily the like normal or whatever way. So it's a lot that I've had to acknowledge. I hope that this info dumping video, whether you choose to fast forward or not, it's all good. I just hope that you get to pull something from this that helps, number one, see the INTP, ENTPs a little bit differently, and to understand different communication types and how that can relate to the MBTI type. How if you're lost on your identity, which for me was a lot of that, especially finding out I was autistic and all that stuff, like it really helped put the perspective in for me, in giving me the bigger picture over everything. That's why I've stuck with this tool the longest. That's why it's kind of stuck out to me more than some of the other ones. But I've dove in all those. This is just the longest one because it keeps going like the Energizer Bunny. So, yeah, this could be totally whack and nuts and way too much information for you. But if it's not, I'm glad. And I just wanted to be able to be consistent and make a video today because I'm trying to do it every Wednesday. It took me forever to do the last one. And I hope to see y'all next Wednesday. Like I said, did this video in like an hour of researching and then putting it together, all that stuff or whatever before. So if anything makes sense, that is awesome. Look at my cool nails. I will see y'all next time, and y'all have a great day.